Welcome back to Explain the Charts, your go-to channel for in-depth market breakdowns. Today, August 3rd, 2025, we're putting Litecoin, or LTCUSD, under the microscope, analyzing both the latest news and detailed chart data to uncover its true market potential. First, let's address the major news shaping Litecoin's landscape. A key theme dominating headlines is Litecoin's increasing correlation with Bitcoin's pulse. Analysts suggest that LTC's price often mirrors BTC's movements. This means Bitcoin's consolidation or directional moves heavily influence Litecoin's short-term trajectory, advising traders to closely monitor both assets. On a more bullish note, Litecoin is gaining significant popularity in cloud mining due to its relatively low energy consumption, making it a cost-effective option for passive income. This fundamental strength in adoption could provide underlying support. Furthermore, we've seen positive institutional interest, with MEI Pharma announcing a substantial $100 million private placement to initiate a Litecoin treasury strategy, marking a significant step towards mainstream corporate adoption. However, there's also news of the SEC delaying the Canary LTC ETF, which introduces a note of caution, potentially dampening immediate institutional inflows and contributing to subdued market momentum. These mixed signals create an interesting environment, so let's see how the charts reflect these forces. Shifting our focus to the daily chart, we can observe the long-term trends for LTCUSD. Litecoin experienced a notable uptrend in late 2024, climbing from the mid-$60s to a peak around $139 in December 2024. This strong rally, especially between mid-November and early December, was supported by significant buying volume, indicating strong market conviction. However, this was followed by sharp pullbacks, such as the big drop from $135 down to $110 in early December 2024. Further significant declines were observed in early 2025, particularly around March, when the price broke below key psychological levels that had previously acted as support. We can clearly see periods of high volatility marked by large candles and increased transaction volumes, especially on downside moves, suggesting strong selling pressure or profit-taking during reversals. The current price of approximately $106.20 indicates that the market has cooled significantly from its late 2024 highs, settling into a new trading range. Now, let's narrow our view on the daily chart to the period from March 2025 onwards to specifically examine the more recent price action. Notice how the price struggled to maintain levels above $110 to $115 during March, eventually breaking down sharply. This breakdown was characterized by substantial red candles with high volume, indicating strong bearish momentum. The old $108 support mentioned in earlier news clearly failed, pushing Litecoin into a lower trading range. The price found some stability around the $60 to $70 levels in April and July 2024, which acted as significant support zones in the past. Following these lows, LTC has attempted several recoveries, but these have often been met with resistance, particularly as it approached the $110 to $120 range. The resistance around $115 to $120 has proven quite formidable in recent months. Switching over to the 1-hour chart, we get a closer look at the intraday dynamics from mid-July 2025. This time frame shows periods of tight consolidation, indicating a battle between buyers and sellers where neither side has a decisive advantage. Volume during these consolidation phases tends to be lower, which is typical for sideways movement and reflects the subdued market momentum reported in the news. You can see how short-term support and resistance levels are being tested repeatedly within these narrower ranges. For instance, between July 13th and July 16th, LTCUSD largely traded between $94 and $97, a clear short-term range to monitor for potential breakouts or breakdowns. Breaks above or below these levels, especially on increased volume, would be important signals for short-term traders. Now, let's zoom in even further to the 15-minute chart, covering the most recent days, from July 28th to August 1st, 2025. Here, the price action appears choppier, but distinct short-term ranges are still visible. We can see how quickly prices can fluctuate within a tight band, such as the range between $108 and $111. These minute-to-minute movements are crucial for day traders looking for quick entries and exits. The volume on these smaller timeframes can help confirm the strength of minor moves. A sudden surge in volume accompanying a price spike often signals increased interest. Conversely, a drop on high volume could suggest an immediate reversal. Identifying these microtrends and reactions to immediate support and resistance levels, like $108.50 or $109.50, is vital for short-term trading decisions. Let's put it all together to form a balanced perspective. Reasons to be bullish on Litecoin in the long term include its growing popularity in cloud mining and significant institutional adoption, like MII Pharma's treasury strategy. These are fundamental strengths that point to increasing utility and mainstream acceptance. The long-term correlation with Bitcoin also means if BTC embarks on a major bull run, LTC is very likely to follow, potentially retesting previous highs. However, reasons to be bearish in the short to medium term stem from regulatory delays, such as the SEC's postponement of the LTC ETF, which can hinder immediate price appreciation. Technically, the breakdown below previous key support levels in early 2025, combined with persistent sideways movement, suggests that significant buying pressure is needed to reverse the current sentiment. High-volume sell-offs seen earlier this year also indicate that strong overhead resistance exists. When deciding when and what price to trade, always monitor Bitcoin's price action as a bellwether for Litecoin. For short-term trades, look for confirmed breakouts above current resistance levels, accompanied by rising volume, and consider tight stop-loss orders given the inherent crypto volatility. For longer-term positions, consider accumulating during dips to strong historical support zones, but always be aware of broader market sentiment and any new regulatory announcements. To recap, here are the important price levels to watch for LTCUSD. Immediate support rests around the $105 area, which, if broken, could lead to a retest of the $100 psychological level, and then potentially the stronger $90 to $85 zone. On the upside, immediate resistance is found around $110 to $115. A sustained break above $115 would open the path towards $120, and then the critical long-term resistance range of $130 to $140. An unbiased prediction for the short term suggests a 60% likelihood of continued sideways movement or a slight retest of lower support around $100, especially if Bitcoin remains subdued or faces further selling pressure. This scenario would be reinforced by low trading volume on bullish attempts and persistent selling on rallies. Conversely, a bullish push above $115, with about a 40% likelihood, would be strongly reinforced by a significant breakout in Bitcoin and positive news on the regulatory front or further institutional adoption. Always look for confirmation from volume and overall market sentiment. Stay vigilant for any new developments regarding Bitcoin's price, future ETF decisions, and further institutional partnerships, as these will be critical catalysts for Litecoin's next major move. Thank you for watching, and remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more in-depth analyses from Explain the Charts.